Oh, might as well just jump in, even though we're waiting on Kevin and Eric. Um, so the videos that I'm posting, yeah, the testing is only going to be on sections 1 through 6, but the problem is that the videos are covering information that's also covered in 1 through 6. It's just that higher level stuff. So my hope is that by going through and watching those, it will help put together the pieces of the sections 1 through 6. Then I've also opened up the AP Classroom so that you guys have the chance to actually practice some of the actual test questions that will be on the exam, so you can see those, play with those. None of those scores are going to hurt you, so you can totally bomb those practice exams in the AP Classroom, and it's not going to impact your grade. I just want to see how you're doing. So you can go into that AP Classroom. If you don't remember your login information, just let me know. I will get you everything that I can see on my side of the classroom and send that over to you.
Just the College Board login, or is there
Yes,
something else?
yes, the College Board stuff.
Gotcha.
The other piece is you made a good catch on that diagram from the Crack App AP practice questions. The diagram had nothing to do with the questions. That diagram was related to partial pressures for oxygen and hemoglobin levels and had nothing to do with plants. So it wasn't that you were crazy, but I mean, that's kind of questionable. You're in AP classes. It's just that that particular diagram had nothing to do with those questions. So I'm not surprised that several people got those questions wrong, just because you would have been making wild, hairy guesses, and that's okay. But it's better to catch those things now rather than later. If you guys didn't see the video before, one of the things that I want you to feel reassured about is part of the reason that I'm giving you these other AP videos from these other teachers is so that you can hear the information presented a different way, that hopefully if you're not able to catch it when I say it, maybe you'll catch it when they say it. But also at the same time, with these practice questions and everything else, I want the information familiar to you, because by practicing at home to try to find the information, when you come to the exam, because the exam is going to be open note, open book, open Google, you will know right where to look to find that answer. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So should we just make like a flipping matrix, like one of those crazy person boards, like have like 12 things of notes like all on the walls and stuff, and be like, oh, this is a unit 3 question. So you just run over to the wall, like copy it down, and then just run back or something, or like.
Man, if that was me, yeah, I would totally do that.
I petition we do that, but in a class doc, so we all have access to it.
So I do all the work and you copy off me, pretty much.
I'm not going there. The thing is that the only limitations right now that are going to happen with this AP exam is the security protocols. They're going to be looking to see if you log in from foreign IP addresses. They're going to be looking to see if you are writing in a way that's consistent with previous things that you may have submitted. They're going to be looking for consistency in the way that you enter your answers. So they're going to be trying to find ways to undo or catch anyone that may be quote unquote cheating. But at the same time, the fact that they've made this open note, open book, open resource is actually in line with what you do in the real world in science. Meaning you don't have to have all this stuff memorized and trapped in your head. You just have to know where to find the information. So long as you're familiar with it, you need to just be able to know, hey, oh yeah, I remember this, how to do the Hardy-Weinberg equation. I just need to go look here. Oh yeah, this is how I plug in the formula and I'm good in order to calculate those genetic deviations. So that's why I'm just continuing to try to like throw out as many resources as possible that even if you just sit and listen to some of these videos over and over again, the information is going to stick somewhere in the back of your head. It might be really irritating to watch the Bozeman science guy, 12 times, but somewhere in there, it's going to stick. And all I want you to do is get a 4 or a 5 on that exam so that you walk away, because this is going to be the easiest exam you guys have faced in terms of the version of AP exam coming out this year. All right. It's only on the early sections. And on top of that, it's only 45 minutes. So you need to, as soon as I post some practice exams to where we can actually have you guys run through an exam and time yourself, we're going to do that too. Because sometimes just the pressure of, oh my gosh, I only have 30 minutes left. Oh my gosh, I only have 15 minutes left. Oh my gosh, I only got like 6 minutes left. That hopefully we can get you past that portion, because that's going to be one of the bigger challenges. In fact, even with the 12 to 15 question practice quizzes that I throw out there, do it the first time through and only give yourself 10 minutes to do it. Give yourself right around 60 to 90 seconds per question, just to give yourself that pressure of trying to answer those multiple choice questions under a time constraint. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's just one thing. If I remember right, after reading that, like the rules of the AP exam, we don't actually have multiple choice this time, do we?
There's going to be more application, but there will be some multiple choice. But they're going to be looking for written responses too. And so part of what they're going to be looking at is, can you digest the information as it's presented and understand what it means? So part of the reason why I posted that note to all of you based on your question, Zach, of, I don't know what I'm looking at here, because it was talking about colorimetric spectrophotometry. That's why I posted, hey, here's more information on spectrophotometry so you understand at least the underlying theory. Because when you see that data type again, you'll know what you're looking at. And you'll know at least, oh, okay, this is related to that. That makes more sense. So in any one of these, make sure you throw me the question, hey, I do not understand question 5, or I don't understand question 12. So that I can then point you back to, hey, here's where it is in the book. Here's where, here's another video on it. Here's another resource on it. So you can see it, 6 different ways, or I'll video a response to it. So this is the time. Ask all the questions you possibly can. If there's one of those questions you just don't get, make sure you email it to me, because it's probably not just you that's having the doubts or questions. It's probably everybody, but just not everybody's willing to ask the question. Kind of like in class. So, does that make sense?
I think so.
Okay.
So sorry, 2 like really simple questions. Is the entire exam, like the whole thing, 45 minutes, or is that just one segment of it?
No, whole thing's 45 minutes.
Okay. Most stressful hour of our life. And remind me of what unit 1 through 6 is? Is that just chapters 1 through 6?
No. So if you look in your AP bio book,
I'm grabbing a copy.
And you go right to the front, are looking at what amounts to units 1 through 6.
Hold on. Let me go get that book real quick.
Actually, you know what? Don't worry about it. What I will do is I will send you guys the cheat sheet on what the key concepts are for 1 through 6, so that then you can work from there. So I will copy and paste that down, and I will post it for you guys. So let me just make a note about it.
All right, cool. Thanks.
A lot of information.
So that you know exactly where you need to be looking in your book for going back and refreshing on things. Any other questions? I mean, that's a good one. Are you guys surviving all this isolation?
No.
Jamie, you're normally the social butterfly. How are you surviving?
I don't know. My sleep schedule is kind of messed up. I go to bed at like 2 and I wake up at 12 every single day. Except for
No, that sounds about right.
Maybe your sleep schedule isn't messed up. Maybe, in fact, that's your biorhythm.
really annoying.
Everybody be off their biorhythm though, because like of how much we have to use screens. Because like, if a blue light screws up your circadian rhythm, right? So like, you could almost like math it out as an equation, like screen time to time off biorhythm, and then work backwards from there, right? You want to actually do like a full calculus equation over it. But I'm a freak out, so
Yeah, you would, Zach. You would be the one to do that for fun.
not for fun, just out of curiosity, just boredom.
Yeah, the amount of time that you are living on the computer and on your phones is probably directly proportional to the amount of sleep you're not able to get in terms of the deviation from your normal sleep schedule. It is hard. We used to see this a lot when I was in the military, and we'd be out for a few weeks at a time up in Alaska, because it's normally dark there for 6 months, and that would be the time period we'd be working. So we would see guys who, honestly, they'd start to kind of lose their mind because everything would be so off. And so we'd have to cheat. We'd have to set alarms. We'd have to force people to get up and go to bed on very set schedules. But we also invested in what were called SAD lights. So you can actually change some of the bulbs in your room, so you're actually getting more sunlight type light to help you during the day, and then you can actually turn those lights off at a specific time to help you start allowing your brain to shut down. It's just something that it's a trick. It worked. But you may also want to set schedules for like when you want to stop looking at the computer screens, or if you have the option on your phone or your computer to set it into what's called night mode, to where it actually turns off some of the UV blue lighting, so you get more of that orangish looking screen. That will stop some of the stimulation as well. So you may want to like set a time to just start reading out of a book instead of looking at the computer, even if the book like makes your eyes more tired and like knocks you out sooner. Kind of up to you, but I totally get that. I totally get that, Jamie.
I have True Tone on my iPhone, and then on my computer it has, I don't know what it's called. I think it's called like Night Light or something. It just makes it more yellow. And I always have it on because if I don't, then I get migraines.
Okay. How about social interacting? Are you guys chatting with each other?
People.
What's that?
I've been FaceTiming some of my friends. Oh, that's about it.
So one of the things that hopefully is going to ease up is some of those social restrictions. So, you guys might be able to at least meet up in a park and, social distance, or, have the masks on just so you're protecting each other. But sometimes just that face-to-face interaction does make a huge difference. As seniors, are you guys like tripping out about what's going to happen with graduation?
Kind of. Like, I've been looking forward to this since I was in kindergarten. Like, we had like a fake graduation. And I think that, I don't know. It's fine. Whatever happens, happens. Can't really do anything about it.
Well, it will certainly be one that everyone remembers, that's for sure.
Yeah.
What happened with the class of 2020 COVID?
2020 was supposed to be a good year. But it's not.
Yeah. Not with over 30 million people, No, it's over 15 million people right now out looking for work.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow the economy is still up. I don't get this.
What's that?
In stocks with all my free time, and I literally like banged my head on a desk since March 16th. It's like 15 million unemployed.
Mm-hmm.
The economy still keeps going straight up. I'm baffled.
Yeah, stock market has nothing to do with what's really going on in the economy. If you can separate those two, it will make a whole lot more sense. We were in the middle of the Great Depression. It was also one of the greatest inclines in the stock market for a period of, decades. So this too shall pass. It's one of those, once the economy starts to open back up again, things will change. But we're feeling it even in my own house, from the standpoint of my wife, who is a nurse. Never thought that she would ever be furloughed or laid off, and yet she is, because they aren't doing any surgeries at the hospital. It's only emergency surgeries, and she's a surgery nurse. So it's one of those that when you're not doing the quote unquote non-essential surgeries or elective surgeries, it hurts everybody. So also ERs are laying people off because people aren't showing up to the emergency rooms. UW, I've got a friend who's a respiratory therapist up there, and she's identifying, how they had built all these crazy respiratory therapy rooms, all these different rooms that were, supposed to be for all these incoming surge of coronavirus patients, and yeah, none of it's happened. And so she and quite a number of her other respiratory therapist friends are laid off, and they've got loads of empty beds up at UW. So this is, not to bang on Zach, this is where computer models fail, kind of like the climate change computer models fail, because we're making estimates based on a closed system versus an open system, trying to account for all of the different variables. It's just not possible. And so these people, and this was a UW group in the infectious disease group that was putting out all of these calculations, IHME. They're the ones who were identifying, we're gonna lose 2 million Americans, and then that was downgraded to we're gonna lose 93,000 Americans. Then that was downgraded to 80,000 Americans. Now it's downgraded to like 62,000 Americans. By the time it's all said and done, it may be 30,000.
Better than the opposite. You assume you're gonna lose like 15,000, and then suddenly 1 million show up on your front door.
Well, the challenge, though, are places like Brazil and Sweden and a couple other countries that said, forget it, we're not going to shut down. And in fact, they've actually had lower death rates. So go figure that one out, because Sao Paulo down in Brazil has a higher population density per square mile than any place in the US, and yet they're not seeing the problems there. So go figure.
I think there's two things with that, right? Because, like, first of all, Americans are kind of like notoriously stick an eye in the government's face kind of deal, where it's like, they're not going to do exactly what they're told right off the bat until it becomes like urgent. And then also the blood type. I looked up which continent has the most O blood type, and it's South America. So, go figure.
Well, and also this seems to disproportionately impact Caucasians more than any other group as well.
Really?
Yeah, so the number of cases are higher in the Caucasian population than any other population group.
That's a new one.
But the death rates are higher in the other population groups because they also have higher numbers of comorbidities. So in the African American community, you're seeing a higher death rate because they also happen to have a higher rate per capita of individuals that happen to have chronic kidney disease, diabetes, things of that nature. So it's kind of crazy. If you guys get stuck, mentally drained, or you just need maybe a little advice, you're always welcome to reach out to me, but I also encourage you guys to also chat with Mrs. Livingston. I don't know if you've had the chance to chat with her. She really is a great lady. I've enjoyed getting to know her through a lot of the things that have gone on lately, to include the stuff with Mrs. Downey. She is a neat lady. Definitely somebody that I would consider, chatting with, if for no other reason than to get additional pointers on how to keep your spirits up, and keep from losing your mind while you're dealing with the isolation stuff. So just an idea. Okay. Don't feel like you can't reach out to her. And then also, I don't know if you guys saw, the school is encouraging folks we're going to try to put together kind of an album, a scrap album, if you will, for the Downey family. So if you guys had, funny stories, good stories, or whatever else about Mrs. Downey that you thought would be helpful to include, please send those to Mrs. Livingston. She's the one who's collecting all of them. And we're going to try to put it together into not only something for the family, but also we're going to try to do a kind of memorial, couple of pages in you guys' yearbook as well for her. So if you have other photos that maybe we haven't been able to track down, that would be awesome. So just throwing that out there. Any other questions? Anything else for the good of the order?
I'm just curious, how's your business been doing through all this?
I'm growing. That's a crazy thing about real estate. My business is doing just fine.
I don't even know what you do anymore. You're like, oh yeah, I like do high school teaching on the side. I do real estate, and I also do like, like business advice and stuff. I'm just confused.
Never rely on a single stream of revenue. If nothing else, this whole Corona thing should teach you that.
But usually
Always
people
have
have like,
multiple streams of revenue.
and a job, or like stocks and a job. It's not like, oh yeah, I do like everything, by the way.
This is the problem with adult ADD and, being a member of Mensa. We are idiots, It's just one of those things. We can't keep ourselves just in one thing.
You're incredibly intelligent idiots.
See,
Yeah, well, we're also talking about a guy who can't tie his own shoes on occasion. So, I have to have little stretchy cord things for my tennis shoes because, I have moments where I can't remember how to tie my shoes. So there are downsides.
Wait, how?
You're just like, man, I can't remember how to tie that knot.
You just go into like a sailor knot or something. I mean,
okay, note to self, do not ever take this dude rock climbing.
Yeah. There's a reason why I rely on my carabiners when I go rock climbing, just say.
Not to your friend.
So you guys have a good rest of the day. Have a good weekend. Try to stay out of trouble. Don't lose your mind. And we'll talk to you guys a bit later.
Yeah.